Great. So for those who don't attend today, they can get the recording. All right. Once again, thank you. So today I'll be talking about the mind. Okay. And I have a few slides that I'll be sharing with us. So I'll be sharing a slide, screen 2. What is it, screen 2? Yeah. So can you guys see what can you guys see? Can you see the picture of the brain?
Yes, it's there.
Yeah.
All righty. All right. Let me just make sure I've got this right. Can you see the slide? Can you see the slide changing?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, great, good. So yes, I'll start with the mind. The mind, wow, the mind. The mind is, how I explain the mind. I would use a very simple way of describing what the mind is. The mind is like the software that runs the hardware, the brain, all right? That's what the mind is like in a very, very simplistic way. So the mind actually is a composite, a term that describes all the mental faculties of a person. Of course, you know, pardon the tautology, you know, the mental faculties and all the ability of someone to reason and to think and to emote and to feel, all of that is captured in the mind. All right. So the mind is not tangible. The mind is not tangible. It's not physical. It can't be touched. It can't be, but it's as real as anything else. Because your mind is you. Your mind is what makes you you. All right. And so, as I said, a very simplistic way of explaining the mind is that the mind is like a software that runs on the hardware, which is the brain. And so the mind and the brain are that connection, at the connection point between the soul of a man and the body of a man. All right. As you probably know, most of us here are Christians, so we understand that man by nature is a tripartite being. So man is a soul. All right. Man is a spirit. Man has a spirit. Man has a spirit that has a soul. Or man is a spirit that has a soul. So we're spiritual beings. We have a soul, and our minds are actually part of our soul. So that soul spirit connection really doesn't separate in the realistic, you know, in reality, but your mind is a part of your soul, your cognition, your thinking, your feelings, all of those things are encoded in the mind, and then you live in a body. And so the connection between your mind, how does your mind control your body? It's through the brain, okay? And so your brain sort of runs your mind, that's it. All right, I know we talk about the heart, and then the heart of the matter, my heart, but oftentimes remember that when we talk about the heart, we're often referring to your spirit, your very core. But in the Bible, the word heart is used interchangeably for soul, for spirit, you know, for the decision-making capability. So when the Bible says the heart of a man is desperately wicked, that scripture is not necessarily talking to the spirit, the breath that God put in man. It's actually talking more about the soul of a man, all right, which is also connected to the mind. Okay, so when we talk about mind, now let me go into more depth. Okay, so the different two broad classifications of the mind. Okay, you've got the conscious mind and you've got the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is that part of the mind that is you know, that you are aware of, that you're cognizant of, that you can recognize. All right, starting from your sense of self-identity, knowing who you are. All right, your personality, your thinking, your reasoning, your decision making. A lot of you decided to click on the link to join right now. That's your mind working. You made a conscious decision to be here. All right, that's your conscious mind, and that part of your mind which encodes your consciousness is, of course, you know, works within the part of the brain called the neocortex, which is the outward part of the brain, the much more open part of the brain. Let me bring my demo. So that's that part of the brain. This part of the brain is called the neocortex. All right, that's where, you know, it's the most developed aspect of the brain called the neocortex. All right, and that's where, you know, the sort of conscious mind is. But deeper down, there's also another part of the mind, which is the subconscious mind, which you're not even aware of oftentimes. All right, we're not conscious about the conscious mind. We're not aware of the conscious mind, but it's still part of the mind. And in fact, a lot of the behaviors and patterns and, you know, habits and impulses and inclinations that we have originate from the subconscious mind. In fact, conditioning originates from subconscious mind. All right. A lot of emotions are generated within the subconscious mind. So there's a lot of the mind in this on the subconscious and the conscious. A lot of us think the mind is all about thinking and critical reasoning and working things out. Yes. In fact, that's really, really important for us as human beings. You know, the gift of, just want to say, the greatest gift that God has given man is the gift of free will, the gift of choice. Yes, your free will is in your mind. You make a decision in your mind, and you do that at the level of your consciousness. In fact, God deals with you often at the level of your consciousness. God deals with you at the level of your, so when God deals with a man, you're conscious of God's dealings with you. You are aware that God is speaking to you. You're aware that God is meeting you and touching you and doing something in your life. But the reality is that, the reality, which is something that I want you to really be aware of, is that there's a lot more to your subconscious mind, which you have to know. There's a lot more to your subconscious mind. There's a lot more to your subconscious mind than the conscious mind. All right. So let's move on from that and explore this a bit further. All right. So when we look at the conscious mind, what are the parts of the conscious mind that we should be aware of? Okay. Your thought. So the man's capability for thought, your ability to think, your capacity for thought, to think and to reflect. Imagination is also a form of thought, but imagination is a visual thought, isn't it? Your ability to think through and imagine something and imagine, wow, that this and this and this. Imagination. You know, some of you may know that I follow sports a lot, and particularly soccer or football. You know, I'm a football fan. And I'm proud of the club that I support, Manchester City Football Club. Now, some of you may think, oh, it's because of new money. No, it's not new money. We started following Manchester City when I was in uni, the days of the old money. And yesterday I was on just browsing, and I heard reports that Manchester City Football Club was, you know, about to sign one of the greatest football players ever, Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm sure some of you would have heard that story. And so when I heard it, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's a really big deal for MCFC, signing Cristiano Ronaldo. All right. And while I was there, I just imagined it, because I was like, I just imagined the Manchester derby. And I've been lucky enough to actually be, you know, at the Etihad Stadium for a Manchester derby, to see what it was like, and to see United fans on one hand. And actually, we were beaten on that day, you know, when I went with my wife to the Manchester derby. We were beaten on the day, but I could just imagine Cristiano Ronaldo, and I just stood there, and I imagined Cristiano Ronaldo in a number 7 jersey, sky blue, at the Etihad or at Old Trafford, playing against United. That's imagination. Guess what? I woke up this morning, as we're going to work, I saw my phone, boom, Ronaldo signs for Manchester United. So it's never going to happen. But I had created a mental picture in my mind. That's the power of thought. The power of thought. You know, if you've watched my series, I did a series, BMC series, Brain Management series, and we spent, myself and I think was Damilolo Oluwatoyinbo, we spent a whole day, a whole session talking about thought. And one of the things I said about thought is that thoughts are limitless. You cannot limit the power of thoughts. You can think about things that have never existed. You can think about things that happened before you were born. You can even picture Jesus and have an imagination and think about Jesus, even though you never met him. You can think about what will happen in the future. You can think about what will happen in the future, even if it's not happened. You can think about something so microscopic like an atom. You can think about something so huge like some of the big planetary bodies that you've never been to. You can think about life on Mars, even though most of us here will never step our foot off this planet Earth. All right, except when we're called to glory at, whatever time. So you can think about that. You can even think about heaven, even though it's beyond imagination, but you can still try to imagine and to fathom it. So thoughts are limitless. You can think. Your ability to think is encoded in your conscious mind. You've got, you've got to be alive and conscious and aware for you to be able to think. So imagination. What about decision making, judgment, the ability to make decisions, to discriminate between this and this? Oh, I want to study this course. I want to pursue this career. I want to marry this person. I want to live in this city. I want to do this. I want to do that. The decisions we make all originate from the mind. That's the free will, your ability to choose. What about intelligence and creativity? They are all encoded in the mind, and they're different things. Intelligence is different from creativity. Intelligence is different, and I can't spend too much time talking about intelligence and creativity, but they're completely different things. Intelligence is your ability to reason and to give out the correct answer that's predetermined. So intelligence is the ability for you to reason out the problem and deliver a predetermined answer. If I ask you who is the president of Jamaica, now I don't know, hopefully Charles knows, all right? If I ask you who is the president of Jamaica, that's predetermined. I am not the one that would figure that out. I'm not just going right there to go cook it up and say, okay, install Charles as the president of Jamaica within 5 minutes and hope that you get it. It doesn't work that way. So you're intelligent if you can produce to me a predetermined answer. If I say 2 + 2 is 4, all right? If that's what you've been taught, and on the day of the exam, you give me 2 + 2 as 4, you are intelligent. So when we say someone is intelligent, that means they are good enough. They can actually produce, already predetermined answers. But when we talk about creativity, creativity is not about you giving us a problem or giving us the answer to existing problems. Creativity is about you questioning the problem. Creativity is about you even thinking about the problem in the first place and questioning the problem, finding the why behind the problem. Creativity is not about you giving us an answer. Creativity is about you providing more answers than we need. Creativity is helping us to understand a problem that we did not even know existed. So creativity is the bedrock of innovation. And that's why you realize that a lot of people are creative, but may not necessarily be intelligent. But as long as they can reason and generate solutions to even problems that people did not know exist, that's creativity. All right. And all of these are encoded in the conscious mind. What about your personality? All right. Your personality is connected with your temperaments. Your personality is an embodiment also of your temperament, not just your temperament, but your education, your life experience, your training, your religious beliefs, all of those things come into your personality. But one key part of your personality is your temperament. And you know the different basic temperaments and all the kinds of temperaments that exist that some of you would have read in Lyon's book on the temperaments and all that. But all of these things are included in your personality, all right? Some of you are very extrovertish. Some of you are introverted. Some of you like to talk. Some of you are withdrawn. Some of you like to be analytical with things and overthink things, and some people are very, very surface, superficial kind of, in their approach. Everyone is different, but all of these are encoded in personality, and they are still part of the conscious mind. Same thing with attitude. So that's all about the conscious mind, and I don't want to belabel that now because that's not the focus, my focus today. All right, what about this subconscious mind? Now, the subconscious mind is encoded within what we call the limbic system. And I will explain that. Okay, the limbic system is that lower part of the brain. Okay, is part of the lower part of the brain, not a higher brain. Okay, in the lower brain. Okay, it's more primitive than the higher brain, but it's as important as the higher brain. And look at some of the things it does. It stores non-conscious habits and behavioral patterns, non-conscious habits. And a lot of us don't understand that the brain is a powerful predictive machine. Wow. If I wish some of you understood what I'm just saying now. The brain is a powerful predictive machine. So the brain predicts. How many of you have seen predictive tests? Most of you use predictive tests, isn't it? When you're on Google, once you put what is, that Google will somehow fill it for you, all right? The capital of Sydney is, the capital of New South Wales is, all right? Google will fill, that's predictive text. Even if you're on Gmail, all right. Now, how does Google do that? Google will uses all the search items from what people are searching. Google will look at what everyone is searching on that particular word. All right. And so once you start typing, the Google servers can predict what you're going to be saying next. So even if you're typing, even on Microsoft Word these days, once you start typing, I am there's a prediction there that, well, maybe you're going to say boy. That's artificial intelligence. Well, that is actually how the brain works. The brain tries to predict future behavior. Your brain, and it starts within the subconscious. The predictive ability of the brain starts from the subconscious, and it starts by, leaning and learning from your past. So a lot of the impulses you have, maybe you've been offended before, you've been hurt before, you've been swindled. Like I've been swindled before when I lost money in a business. This was in Nigeria. I invested in a business and I lost a lot of money. I realized that it became very difficult for me to trust anyone else. In fact, the very moment you start talking about invest in this agricultural. Once I hear the word invest, my guard is up. It even starts at the subconscious level because of past experience. My brain starts to predict that, hey, bros, remember what happened the last time? You know how the guy spoke, his words were sweet. Month 1, you made money. Month 2, you made money. Month 3, you made money. Month 4, excuses. Then month 5, excuses. Month 6, everything disappeared, including your capital. And so there's this prediction, and a lot of all these things happen in this, in the subconscious level, at the non-conscious level. All right, even before you are aware of this. It's almost as if I'm talking to myself. A lot of you, your cameras are off. It's like I should switch off my off camera too. All righty.
We are enjoying it, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm just talking. People like talking to names. Some of you have nice photographs, but you, John, you don't have any photo. I'm just saying John.
Okay, let me pull up my
video. To people, I can bounce. This looks better. You can smile to me. I know when I'm meeting. All right. Okay. All right. Not only that, the subconscious mind also regulates emotions. Now, emotions are biological programs that run through your brain, and they're natural. They're part of your humanity. They're part of what makes you human. Emotions. Thanks, Bolu Atufe. Is that a photo or is that you? Okay, maybe it's a photo.
Sorry, that's just a photo, but that's
all right. So your emotions are also regulated by the subconscious brain, the limbic system. And I've said this over and over again. If you've been in any of my sessions on the brain or the mind, your emotions are part of who you are. There's nothing like, oh, don't be emotional. Everybody's emotional. Every single person is emotional. If you cannot live without emotions. In fact, you cannot separate your decision making from your emotions. All right. Your emotions are part of who you are. And in fact, emotions, there was a day in our church, and I attend the Redeemed Christian Church of God, like most of you probably attend. Some of you may not be Redeemed members. If you're not a Redeemed member, let me see your hands. If you're not a member of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, just give me a thumbs up so we can acknowledge you. All right. But okay, I assume most of you are. Right. Now, there was one Sunday school we were teaching, we had a teaching on fear. All right. And I was explaining to the people in our church that fear itself is actually a good emotion. A lot of us fear. What we do not understand is that fear is meant to be protective. Fear is one of the basic emotions that anyone would have. And God has designed fear. God created fear. All right? That's why even the Bible says the fear of the Lord. God created fear. God created us to have fear. All right. But when the Bible talks about fear not, what the Bible is talking or making reference to is when you allow that emotion of fear to have control over you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, when you run, I give you an example, and I've given this example before. I was just running to church when I was very young. I was late for Bible study. And it was because I was playing soccer somewhere and I knew I was in trouble. So I just quickly had to run to church. And I was running to church. A dog was coming from another angle and we met each other at the junction. And I was scared of dogs and still am. And the dog also, saw me scream and the dog ran away. We both ran away. At that very moment when we met each other at the right angle, all right, I felt intense fear. And I ran back. That initial emotion was meant to be protective. The problem is when you stay, imagine if I leave that place and I'm still like, and then the next day I'm like, and I refuse to walk through that street anymore, or I refuse to go that way anymore. And I'm like, and I'm dreaming about the dog and I'm waking up and I'm seeing the dog on the wall. That's where the problem arises. So emotions, all right, are a part of your natural constitution, your natural composition, all right? It is normal to experience emotions. Now, the problem is that sometimes these emotions will then spread up into the cortex, the upper part of the brain. So the emotions are often generated by one small tiny structure here called the amygdala, all right? But then those emotions would spread up to the upper part of the brain where the brain will give it meaning and it will now develop into feelings. All right. And of course, when you now overlay that with experience, then it can lead to bonding and attachment. All right. Well, for those of you who have had romantic relationships, you know what I'm talking about. You see somebody, all right, you feel that, I don't know what they call it these days, but if you allow those things, to butterflies or whatever, to blossom, then you start to get feelings, and then feelings of attachment. And you can actually have feelings for even somebody who does not even know about it. All right, emotions. What about memory? The memory is also stored and processed in the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind also helps us with navigation and intuition. So you'll see that there is a lot that happens in the subconscious. And in fact, there's a lot more that happens in your subconscious mind than your conscious mind. I like this slide. I've used it before, and I saw it online, okay? Look at that. Your conscious mind is just the tip of the iceberg, all right? It's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more to your mind, all right? Your beliefs, your value system, your habits, your emotions, all right? All of those things happen there in the subconscious mind, all right? So there's a lot more to the way we behave, we do our things in the subconscious than in the conscious, all right? So having said that, let me stop sharing my screen. All right, having said that, I hope I'm communicating to you guys. I'm communicating to you guys. All right. So
yeah,
the thing then is that how can we, let me okay, I'll share my so the issue that I find over and over again is that so many people, all right, get it wrong because their minds, when the Bible says that do not be conformed with this world, but be transformed by Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Do not be conformed, to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. All right. The Bible is actually speaking not just to your conscious mind, your decision-making capability, but to your subconscious mind. So do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Okay. So your job as a leader, because you're all here because you're leaders, your job as a leader is to identify, for you to understand how your mind works, how the mind works, and how you can get your mind renewed appropriately, particularly within the subconscious. Because I see it over and over again that a lot of people will never rise up to their potential because of their belief systems, not because of what happens or situations and circumstances, but because of their belief system. Someone said life is 1% what happens to you, and what 99% how you react to it. There is more to life in terms of your reaction than actually your actions. There is much more to life. So your belief systems, your conditioning, your habits, your emotions, all of those things are very important. And if you do not understand how they work, how you are wired, and how you can improve your productivity by working on your mind and getting your mind in the best possible shape, you will always struggle. You will always struggle. Some of you will know the Pavlov experiment, where Ivan Pavlov, this Russian neuroscientist, all right, got dogs. He got some of his dogs. Every time the dog, it would give them a lolly, it would hit a bell, all right, and their mouth would water. And he kept doing that here, classical conditioning, all right, until a time came when he did not give them the lolly or the food or whatever, and he hit the bell, but the mouths of the dog still watered. All right, that's typical classical conditioning. A lot of that association between the sound and the production of saliva starts at the subconscious level. And I talk about the predictive capability of the brain. Your brain is a predictive machine. Your brain already sets you up. Let me give you a very good example. How many of you have been thirsty recently? I know we're in winter in this part of the world, but can you just imagine being thirsty and you get a things. Imagine you're thirsty and you get a bottle of Coke, a can of Coke, chilled one. Whoa. What happens? Now, let me explain to you how the brain's predictive power works here. And it starts in the subconscious. This is a very good illustration. Do you know that when you get thirsty, how do you know you're thirsty? How do you know you're thirsty? You don't know that you're thirsty because your mouth is dry. No, that's not how you know you're thirsty. You know you're thirsty because your blood volume reduces. When your blood volume reduces, your brain has thirst receptors that pick up pressure and what we call osmolality of blood. When your brain, those receptors pick it up, they signal to you that you're thirsty, and your brain reduces a hormone called the antidiuretic hormone. All right. So those receptors start to tell you that you're thirsty, you need water. Now, the question then is that, you get a bottle of water like Charles just did, and you drink the bottle of water. Now, let me pick up on Dr. Tunde. All right. You drink a bottle of water. How does that work that you get refreshed straight away? How long does it take after you drink a bottle of water, Dr. Tunde, for you to get refreshed? And you, a bottle of Coke. You know the feeling now, that carbonated drink, when you goggle it, gobble it. Wow, that was nice. How long does it take to get refreshed? How many seconds, how many minutes? You have to unmute yourself. Are you able to unmute yourself? Yeah.
I think within a minute, you
Within a minute.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, are you a medical doctor?
Yes.
Yes, great. How is that biologically possible? Is that biologically possible that the actual mechanism of thirst can be fixed in 1 minute? Does it take 1 minute? How long do you think it would take for you to absorb that bottle of water? Is it 1 minute?
No, it takes hours to get it completely absorbed.
Okay.
I think it's a neural mechanism that gives you that satisfaction.
Now you're talking. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So from the very moment you start drinking, it will take about 20 to 30 minutes before any drop of that water is absorbed into your blood. But your brain is already predicting. Your brain is already predicting that, yes, this is going to elevate the blood volume. This is going to sort of help with blood flow. Yes, and we're in good shape. We've maintained equilibrium. So the thirst receptors are turned off and dopamine is released in your brain and you get the pleasure. So even before the actual cause of the thirst has been fixed, your brain has already predicted a response and you're already getting pleasure from that bottle of Coke. Am I communicating to you? Am I communicating to you? So even before biologically, there's a change. That's how we call the placebo effect works. Let me give you a very good example. My mom is in Tasmania at the moment. All right. My mom is in Tasmania in Launceston with my sister. So one day she had a bad toothache and she called me and said they couldn't get to their dentist, blah, 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 GPs in that rural town. They couldn't get, it was in the evening, Saturday evening like this. But the chemist was open. And so you know what? I don't like doing this. I don't generally write scripts for my family members. So, but I said, I'll do this for my mom. So I know my mom has a chronic dental issue. Sometimes she takes antibiotics when there's a flare up. So I wrote a script of amoxil and I sent it to the pharmacy in Tasmania. And so within maybe 30 minutes or so, they went to the chemist, they got the antibiotic and she took the tablet. Do you know that within 10, 15 minutes, my mom called me back and said, Niyi, it's gone. I could not convince my mom that that was placebo effect. I could not convince my mom that it was not biologically possible that, I said, in fact, that amoxil tablet is still in your tummy. But she believed it was gone. And I said, you know what, if I had given her a capsule of chalk, do you understand what I'm saying? She would still say yes. All right, that yes, that was it. That's how the brain works. You know, let me tell you, I'm a pastor, but I can tell you that there are a lot of miracles that are placebo effect. If you can just touch me, all right, the headache will be gone. Now, I believe in miracles, and I pray for miracles every day. So I'm not discounting that, but I'm just telling you how the brain is wired and how the brain works, the predictive ability of the brain. And that's the basis of the placebo effect. It's all in the subconscious. So my mom knew that once I take this antibiotic and it gets into my system, it will help. But the brain is already releasing endorphins, natural endorphins, to dampen that pain even before the tablet arrives and gets to the destination. But how does the brain know how to do that? The brain relies on past experience. That's the problem. So that a brain often always relies on past experience. That's why people who have been victims of trauma in the past, every time they're in that same situation, you've heard of post-traumatic stress disorder, the brain learns from the past and say, when that happened to you in the past, what did you do? That's how our brain learns. Our brain learns from experience. I've got a 4-year-old, all right? There was a time he was playing with a flame, all right? And it hurt him. Immediately his brain learned something. Now, if I put on a candle, you ask him to come near the candle, he would run away because he has learned by experience that is not the case. Am I speaking to someone here? A lot of all these things happen within the subconscious. A lot of all these things happen even before you knowing it. Why is it that you judge people and we already have a vibe when somebody approaches us? It comes to something I call value tagging. You meet a let me put it this way. Pam, hello Pam. I can see your camera is on, so I'll engage you. All right. Where are you based, Pam?
That's Australia, Adelaide.
Adelaide, fantastic. Now just imagine Pam meeting, I don't know, any celebrity that you like. I don't know whether you're into celebrities, but just imagine you meeting, an amazing woman. Let's see, Oprah Winfrey, Oprah. You just run into Oprah. All right. Let's just be honest, Pam. I'm not sure whether you're a celebrity, but I'll ask you, what would be your reaction if you meet Oprah? Just imagine, or let me say, or maybe Oprah or Prince William. You enter the plane and Prince William is sitting beside you.
Oprah.
Oprah, you prefer Oprah? Okay, yeah. What would you? What would be your reaction to her?
I think I'll smile widely. I'll be shocked. I'll be surprised, and I'll smile.
Yes.
Yes, hello.
Would you ask for a selfie? Would you ask to you want to keep
Maybe.
that? Yes.
Yeah.
You want to let's take a photo together or something like that. Eh? You want to do that? Yes. Now there's something that we call value tagging, which is the ability of the brain to attach value to experiences. Every experience you have, your brain tags it. All right. And how does your brain tag it? Your brain tags it based on past experience or based on what you know. So your brain tags it. And so at that time, when you see Oprah, your brain goes through the fact who's Oprah Winfrey, and you say, wow, this great woman who's achieved so much, blah, blah, blah. And so your brain elevates that sensory experience. Your interpretation of this is a great thing. All right. And then you value that experience. Even before she comes to you, you're like, you understand? Your emotions are already riled up because this is, now, just imagine if this was, and I don't know anything about you, Pam, but let me just imagine, maybe not you, but just generally, an ex. An ex was just like a bomber, like a, horrible person. Do you understand what I am saying? The mere sight of that person, like sitting beside you, do you understand what I am saying? You see, within the subconscious, where does hate come from? Where does racism come from? Where does malice come from? Once you see that person, emotions start to run through you. Certain things are triggered within your subconscious, even before that person opens their mouth. Before that person opened, there was a day I used to work as a home doctor. So I would go with the driver, and I'll go to people's homes. And there was this woman, I went to their house, all right, to see the child. And immediately I saw the child, I saw the attitude. Of course, white woman, and the boy was half caste. So I was already thinking that, oh, this is a sort of a mixed whatever. But I tried to be nice, and I did all I had to do. But before I left, she had to tell me the story. In fact, once she heard my voice, she knew I was Nigerian. Boy, oh boy, she had horrible experience with a Nigerian man. All right. And of course, she started talking about, all the stuff and everything. And it was later I realized that the reason why she was, that way to me, the reason why she gave me that vibe was because of her past experience. So our past experiences, often the brain relies on our past experience, but the brain doesn't get it right, because many a times God will bring opportunities to us that our brain will judge as not just being good enough, that our brain will just like, no, they've come again. All right. And your brain will make you put your walls up and not recognize what God is doing at that point in time. Because your brain would always want to rely on the past. Before Jesus came, so many other people have come. So many prophets had come. They thought this was going to be, even when John the Baptist came, they thought he was going to be their Messiah. They were expecting a Messiah to come to physically defeat Rome. So when Jesus came, the Jews did not recognize him because in their mind, they doubted him. They did not take him seriously. All right. They judged him already. And that's why you see that their attitude towards him was just negative from the start, and they could not shake it off. Many a times, our belief systems and our attitudes are already predetermined because of the state of our mind, our subconscious. Some of us have just been, for example, have self-confidence there, self-esteem. All right. And the way you see yourself and how you see, I'm not talking about being pride now. I'm talking about you respecting yourself and seeing yourself that, yes, I can stand and I can hold my head high and be proud of what I've done and what I've achieved. Of course, not in not in an arrogant way, but you can hold yourself together and say, yes, this is who I am. A lot of people cannot do that because they've always been battered. They've always been told they are not good enough. They've also been told that, oh, they cannot achieve it. There's a ceiling on them. You cannot talk. I used to be like that. I used to be very shy and reclusive when I was in secondary school or even I remember my first time in a high institution. In college, I could not speak grammar. I had problems with my diction. I would always make mistakes, and I was a very shy person, but I knew that I just had to break out of this mold. And of course, it took a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of teaching, and I would make mistakes. I used to release grammatical bombs that, even my audience, I'll be like, when you release a bomb and you realize that, oh boy, you just move on. All right. And, I used to, maybe I still do. Some of you are shaking your head like, oh, you're still doing it, maybe. All right. But that was me. I would not be standing before you doing this. If you had seen me years ago, you would have judged me and said, this is not, and there are a lot of times that's what the brain does. We look at people, we tag them, and these ones are not good enough. These ones are not, these ones are, right? Because that's the way, but God doesn't work that way at times. There are many times in our lives that God works in a different way. There are many times in our lives that God works in a completely different way. And I'm just going to, I just feel like sharing this with you. I'm not sure whether I can find that other document, but which is just talking about the subconscious mind. I will see if I can bring that up very soon. But there are many times that God will give us a word, God will give us instructions, God will tell us to do things that are outside of our past experience, that our past experience cannot relate to. Our brain cannot understand, our brain cannot unravel it. But because our brains have been trained to always go back on past experience, we will miss it. And that's why it's very important for you to work with your brain. Most people who have been conditioned to think in a particular way or react in a particular way are not even aware of that, because it's at the, as I said, it's at the subconscious level. They're not even aware of the conditioning that has taken place in their minds that is now, led them to, or put them in a situation where they react in the way they do, because they can't just understand or unravel it. I hope I'm talking to someone today. I hope I'm making sense while I try to bring this up. Does anybody have any questions so far? Any question or comment so far? Any question or comment so far about the subconscious? I'm just trying to spend more time on the subconscious today. Does anyone have any questions or comments about the subconscious or how the subconscious mind works or anything so far? Subconscious.
Hello. Morning, sir.
Who is this? Jada?
This is Samuel. Yes, Samuel Jada.
Samuel Jada, yeah. God bless you. Where are you from? Where are you talking from?
Yeah, I'm joining from Lagos, Nigeria.
God bless you. Yes.
Thank you. So I think I've had this question for a while. Is when you talk about the subconscious mind, you say it's something that is very deep rooted. And my question is it impossible to change some of these things that have gained roots in the mind? Is it impossible to, just take them away? Or what would that process of unlearning look like?
Fantastic. We're getting there, okay? We're getting there. In fact, that's where we're getting there. Now, before we go there, let me just tell you 3 processes that happens in the subconscious. I'm going to quickly share with you 3 processes that happen. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? 3 processes that happen in the subconscious mind, okay? I call it selective attention. I talked about value tagging already, and learned helplessness. Selective attention, value tagging, and learned helplessness. Now, selective attention, let me tell you, your brain cannot cope. I've got to go very fast now. Your brain cannot cope with all the information you're exposed to. It's not possible. All right. Now, Charles, look at Charles. Some of you can see Charles. Let me spotlight Charles for everyone to see. Let's spotlight him for everyone to see. This handsome man. Look at him. Very nice camera. Yes, I can see you, Charles. Yes, we know. Hey, and he's married for all who don't know. All right. Now, Charles is wearing a jacket. He has a t-shirt underneath. All right. He's putting on glasses. He's got a black beard. all right? It's got these headphones and it's got glasses on. Let's just look at the sensations that his brain is exposed to. The pressure receptors on the side of his face are feeling the pressure of the frame of the glasses. The weight, his brain is also feeling the weight of the headphones, the weight of the shirt, all right? The roughness of the beard. So just as he is right now, he's also typing. His brain is also getting sensations, information from the keys that he's pressing on. And he's looking at the screen, he's seeing me, he's looking at the slides, he's getting information. He's also hearing me. Imagine the amount of information that we're exposed to. Do you think the brain in reality can process all of this? No. What the brain does is to direct the focus of his attention to the sensations that matter. Your brain, and I'm going to talk later about multitasking, maybe not today. There's nothing like multitasking. There's nothing biologically possible. Multitasking is not biologically possible. Nobody can multitask. Every time you think you're multitasking, what you're doing is what we call task switching. Your brain is switching, but it's happening so fast at microseconds, so fast that you don't even know. All right? Am I talking to somebody? So it's very important to you to understand that the way the brain works is that your brain selects what is important, and then your brain will direct the focus of your attention to what is important. That's what we mean by selective attention. All right. It's your brain's ability to direct its focus to what is really important. All right. Selective attention. I'm not going to spend too much on that. Okay. Now, why is that important? It's important because you cannot be fully productive if you cannot control your focus. In fact, and I'm going to talk later about focus. Okay. Focus is like the spotlight. Until you are able to direct the focus of your brain and your mind to a particular thing. A lot of you, let me tell you, one of my mentees was with me 2 or 3 days ago. And after some of you know that I'm planning this program with, I have a conference that's coming up. Some of you might have heard about it, Legacy Conference 2021. If you're interested, every day I get emails from people wanting to participate and all that. So if you're interested, I will take that from you. But what am I even looking for? Yeah. I think this is it. All right. Our name is not here. So I had a meeting with Nick Vujicic, this week. And after the meeting, I made sure my EAs were there. 2 of them were there, my mentees, and they are my executive assistants. They were there. So we all had a chat together. It was a meeting talking about legacy and everything. So after the program, I was left with this lady and we were having a chat. And I decided to ask her a few questions. And she listed, I asked her all the things she does. Okay. I'm not sure whether you guys can see how long that list is. It's not in focus. All right. Is it in focus now? All right. Event host, TV host. All right. YouTube. She has a YouTube channel, almost 1,000 subscribers. WhatsApp group. This one something. She's an author. She's a speaker. She's coaching. She's doing all of these things. And when I actually went through all of those things with her, I realized that, you know what? I said, man, you need a coach. All right. We need to, I realized that one of the biggest challenges she had was ability to focus. And, in so many things, and a lot of all those things are not connected together to the main goal. You may have a main goal, a main assignment, and you may have some other sub-assignments, but everything is working together towards that main goal. But a lot of people their hands are into too many things that are not even related or that are not even connected. And so being busy or being popular does not mean you'll be effective. And one of the reasons why you cannot really be a master and an expert in what you've been called to do is the lack of selective attention. I've talked about value tagging. Every experience you have, your brain puts a tag to it. All right. I was talking to one of my family members today, and we're having a conversation. All right. And I asked him to do something and he refused to do it. So later we were talking and he was like, oh, well, I didn't want to do it because you raised your voice or you were like this over me. You were like this over me. You know what I mean? And that's value tagging. Sometimes, you just read people. Oh, yeah, he gave me attitude. What is attitude? All right. You just perceive the way and then okay, it's giving me this attitude. And so you attach a value to that, and it may be a negative value. And so you don't respond to them. Some of you, are, in churches that you can never get the best from that church. You can never be blessed under the ministration of the man of God because he's become so small in your eyes, or she's become so small in your eyes. The value has dropped. But you realize that the people in that ministry who are getting a little, have you not heard of men of God who commit scandals? And there are people who are willing to still die for them. All right. And you say, oh, these people are deluded. Maybe they are, but that's value tagging. That's because in their brains, all right, in their minds, the experiences, the encounters they've had with that person has been elevated to a level that is beyond even their own conscious control. That nothing evil will be said about that person that will shake them, that will move them. They will stick to that person, even if that person gets it. Donald Trump said, if I go out and I shoot somebody, all right, people will still follow me. All right. And that's value tagging. But it starts from the subconscious. It starts from and the last one is learned helplessness. And I'm going to just explain learned helplessness. Do you know that exposure to uncontrollable outcomes would, over a period of time, lead to a degradation in your subsequent decision making? That's what it is. Every time, why is it that people who fail just keep failing and failing and failing and failing? All right, that's learned helplessness. I was watching over the last few days, I've been watching a lot of YouTube content, and I was watching a documentary on LeBron James yesterday, Strive for Greatness, when they won it was in Cleveland, Ohio, the Cavaliers, the basketball team in Ohio, they won their first championship after 52 years. And they were showing the history. These people have been in finals, multiple finals, but they keep falling over and over again. And even the fans have given up. Players from different generations give up. When it's game 4, game 5, and they are, if they're behind, they just, oh yeah, we can do it. Until one man, LeBron James, decided that no, this year is a year, and he stretched himself beyond any, they made history that year. Even though they were down in the series 3-1, they became the first team to win a series, even though they were down 3-1 in an NBA final series. Why am I saying this? Learned helplessness is one of the reasons why some of you keep stumbling on the same stone over and over again, and you give up. It's one of the reasons why addicts find it very hard to break away from their bad habits. Because some people, I know a young man who told me, I fall to masturbation, and then he would cry and pray, oh God, forgive me, oh God, help me and heal me from masturbation. And then they will fall again to masturbation, and they'll be like, God. And then after a while, they just give up. They just give up. They don't even come to church anymore. They feel wounded every time to come to, but you're a brother, you're a fervent brother. You used to serve the Lord. You used to, yes, I know, but this thing is like a thorn in my flesh. And I can't just come to Bible study and hear them talk about sin, and I'll be grieved because I'll feel hurt and I want to repent, and I'll be like, yes, but once I get there again, oh God, I'll just fall like a vegetable, whatever, I'll just give up. Learned helplessness. That's something that happens in the subconscious. It's one of the subconscious principles of subconscious principles that govern behavior. All right, and it's something that you must understand. So, like the person, was it Samuel Jada, that asked that question? If you're going to rewire your brain, you're going to renew your mind, you have to know how the mind works. If you don't understand how the mind works, how can you renew your mind? All right. When he says renew your mind, yes, you know what you will renew it with. All right. And we're going to talk about that. But you must also understand how the mind works. How you must understand the frailty of your mind. All right. That if you're not able to control your attention, if you are not able to attach the proper value to your experiences, and if you always judge the book by the cover, you will miss it, is what I'm saying. A lot of people miss it because they tag the wrong value. They attach the wrong value to the right experience. And so they misjudge things. And remember that when you are value tagging based on your experience. Some people have seen me before speak. And so when they see me, well, like, oh, because you've seen me before. But if you've not met me before, you will not know who I am. Do you understand? Do you know, like, I have a medical practice. And do you know how many people have come into my medical practice and not know that I was a doctor? Somebody has even asked me, please, can I see the doctor? If one day somebody said, are you my interpreter? And even the person is Lebanese. Like, do I look like an Arabic speaking man to you? You came to my office to see me. You're an Arabic Middle Eastern man, and you are asking me that, are you my interpreter? I'm not your interpreter, sir. I wasn't offended. All right, because a lot of them don't picture when they're coming to a neurologist office, they're not picturing a black dude or like, like me. They're picturing a gray-haired white man, that's what they're picturing. That's what they see. Do you understand? Do I get offended? I don't get offended about that. I just push it on. But that's just that's what they see. That's how, when they see me, the instinct, it's subconscious. It's subconscious. It's not racism. It's not racism. It's just a subconscious thing. It's conditioning. And some people call it systemic racism, and the way this, yes, I can understand that. The bias that occurs starts there. But one thing you must learn, if you are here and you are stumbling on the same stone, you are falling over and over again, understand how the brain works. Learn helplessness. Every defeat you suffer sets you up for another defeat until you break that cycle. And I pray that God will help you break it in Jesus' name. I'm not going to talk about convergent and divergent thinking because of time. I've talked about selective attention. Let me just jump because of time now. We can't go through all of this. I think I've talked about, oh gosh, time is even up already. Let me share this. Just about value tagging. I think I've mentioned this already, but I just emphasize that it's an unconscious activity. Your brain assigns importance to every information it's exposed to. And this precedes every action and directs the response to your stimuli. So when you are exposed to that person already, your brain attaches a level of importance to it, and it would condition you, help you determine the way you react to that person. You will give the excuse that, yes, it's the vibe I'm getting from that person, but your brain looking at that person's exterior or the way the person is talking and judging what the person is going to be, you already think this person is a scammer. Some of you get phone calls, like once you see a no call ID and say, hello, blah, blah, you already know, hello, yeah, I am, blah, 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 telecommunications with an Indian accent. You already, no, you don't even let them land. You already know where they're going. You have predicted it. You got it. All right. Value tagging. Until, I don't want to go into all of this. Oh my God, I've just got so much stuff in here. I was talking about multitasking here. In fact, oh gosh, no. Oh my God, I don't want to go too deep into sort of, a lot of neuroscience. This is a slide I prepared for another talk, and I don't want to, okay, let me just bring this, up for you. This slide is a very good slide. Okay. Look at the slide. I like the slide. Okay. Whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. Okay. But whatever is planted in your subconscious, you nourish with repetition and with emotion will become a reality. So fixing this, how do you do that? By raising up those subconscious desires, those biases, those priorities to your conscious mind. All right. And we're going to talk about those. All right. Let me see what I have there in the next slide. Just give me a second, guys. I'm rounding up now so that, all right. Let me see. Okay. All right. So experience changes the brain. So no matter what happens, no matter how your mind is wired at the moment, no matter the kind of conditioning or the kind of condition your mind is in right now, your mind can be changed, your mind can be renewed. All right, it can be renewed. And of course, there's a spiritual angle to it as well, but it's very important for you to understand how this works. Just understanding that the brain itself, and I want you to please understand, is that the brain itself is always in a constant state of change. So experience can change your brain. All right. And when I'm using the word brain, I'm also using the word mind as well. Okay. So how can this really happen? And I'm just going to spend a few minutes on this and then we'll finish up. How can this really happen? How can you deal with those subconscious biases and just gain mastery over that? I'll share with you one of my own personal experience very close to me, and then I'll use that to illustrate some points. Okay. So this is a beautiful woman that I met. Oh gosh, when did I meet this woman? I met this woman, can't remember now, a very long time ago. All right. But this woman is my wife. All right. So we're married now, I think maybe how many years now? Gosh, 14 years. Going to 14 years. And so I was in my 5th year of medical school when my eyes caught her. Well, I'd known her for a while before then. And, you know, I just started to feel in my heart that God was sort of leading me to her. I just had this sort of pure, unadulterated love for her that I could not. Now, at that time, I was a leader in my campus fellowship. I was well liked, and I would not say, you know, I had options. I had a few people that I actually thought, you know, at the time I was in a relationship, but God, I just couldn't get over those bow legs. I just couldn't get over those bow legs. And every time, you know, I knew what God wanted for me. It became very clear to me that this was God's will for me. But my mind was just like, oh God, how am I going to cope with this? You know, and I remember, you know, and I knew she knew about it before me. She knew, and she would always be the one to reach out. If I remember those days, she would send me a text message, and I was a bad guy. I'll show her a text message to my, you know, my friends. I'm like, hey, see the text message. I'm like, oh, you sure? I'm like, you know, that kind of thing. And so I just decided to just, you know, just walk through that process. But it was challenging because, you know, all of those subconscious processes started to kick in. I just started to look at this like, no, I'm above this. Like, this is not good for me. Like, you know, can you imagine me? I'm going to be a doctor in a few months' time, and this, no. You know, and then the value tagging was a negative value tagging. She became low. I looked, you know, the relationship became almost very symmetrical, like, you know, but I knew in my heart what God was saying to my spirit, because I'm a Christian, I'm a spiritual man. And I knew what God was saying to me, but what God was saying to me, my mind was saying something contrary. I could not accept God's will. There was a conflict within my heart. And how did God speak to me? God spoke to me because God put in me a deep love for her. There was a deep love, affection for this woman. And it was not because I was unduly close to her. It wasn't a kind of love that was built by communication. Most of you would know that the fuel of love is communication. If you talk to somebody every day, you fall in love with her. That's how CEOs fall in love with their secretaries. If you talk to somebody every day, if especially if they're of the opposite sex, you develop attachment with that person. We'll talk about the neuroscience of love another time. I have a whole topic and discussion on that, how people fall in love. But that's different. But yeah, I was with this lady. I knew what God was saying in my life for, you know, to me at the time. And it was also a situation because she's a twin, and a twin at that time was in an advanced relationship. They were getting ready for marriage, and she was there. So you could see that she was really, you know, the pressure of being in a twin. She had bow legs. No man had ever approached her. She's nobody, not even me. Nobody had even whispered anything to her. She walks waddle like that, you know, with her bow legs. But I just, you know, one day she came over I invited her to my university. And I think maybe was I an intern then or something? I can't remember. And I was just walking with her along the way, and I saw some of my friends coming the other way. Guess what I did? I just quickly stopped, and I was trying to fix my shoelace, not realizing that my shoes don't have a lace. All right. Anyway, I was just fiddling with the shoes. So she took a few steps forward and stopped, but I kept my head down so that some of my colleagues will not start asking questions, you know, that kind of thing, because they're always asking questions. Anyway, I went through that process, and I'm telling you, it was the best. This is the best thing I'd ever done, marrying this woman. My chaplain, I was in the Anglican church at the time, and the chaplain called me and said, Niyi, I was the youth pastor. So I became the youth pastor. We had about 200, 300 youth that I was pastoring, and it was in an Anglican church at the time. And, you know, he called me and said, are you serious? Of all the beautiful women in this church, this one? This is a man with a white collar. Who was saying that? And I told him I've heard God, you know, and I was struggling at the time when he said that. And, you know, it would have been easy for me to say, but let me tell you, I looked at him and I said, no, sir, with all due respect, I know what God has said. Thank God I married him. 14 years now. I've not seen this man. I don't even know where he is. Wherever he is now, he will see the two of us doing great things. And he'll be like, oh, man, my prediction was wrong. My father did not want me to marry this woman. My father would tell me, what about this person in your class? What about that other person? Because he knew that I was one of the most brilliant students in my school. I had a lot of, I had distinctions. I was, second or third best graduating student. I'd been to England and back. And I was young, by the time I was out of school, I'd done a diploma in computer science. 14, I'd finished secondary school. By 21, how was I when I finished medical school? 22, 23, I was finishing medical school. So things where my father was like, why the rush? My father was like, he just looked at me as this young boy at the time. Well, he wasn't even alive when I got married. My father didn't even see me get married, but he opposed it. My mom did not believe in it. My mom just felt, my mom, had to go through a process. So all the opposition that I faced in the context of the fact that my own mind was shaking, but I just felt, God, I would obey you. Oh, and then I'll see all these beautiful sisters who will come, brother Niyi, they'll bring food, brother Niyi. I'm like, God, look at this swarm. I'll be like pretty girl, like, no. Conditioned the mind, decision making. Yes, you want to make that decision. Your cortex wants to make it, but it starts from the subconscious because you already attach a lot of negative value tagging. Selective attention, your subconscious is the gatekeeper to your attention. And then learned helplessness. Remember those three subconscious principles, or even subcognitive principles. Anyway, I may not even have time to even tell you how, but I hope my story and what I'm sharing with you is connecting with somebody here. Some of you, you know what God is calling you to do, but it's not making sense. Your story may be the story of Abraham when God said he should sacrifice his son. And you're like, God, how do I do it? Because there's a conflict in your mind. It starts from the subconscious. And that was exactly, because if I tried to reason it out, I had options, but I knew what God wanted from me. I'm telling you, this is the best thing I'd ever done in my life. And I'm glad I obeyed God, because today, this is this woman now. This is this woman now. Those bow legs are gone. Those bow legs are gone. After we had our second son, our first boy one day asked her and said, Mom, why do you walk the way you walk? She came to me and said, darling, I want to fix this. And we fixed it in the same city of Sydney. We fixed it. And I never pressured her to fix it. I never asked her to do anything about it. I took it as my own burden. In our church those days when we were in, Glendenning, people would ask questions. Later I asked her, I said, would you ever have allowed me to be a pastor with your bow legs? And she said, no. Because a lot of old people would have, how they would describe me. You say, that pastor, I don't know his name, but his wife has bow legs. Yeah. That's how they would describe me. All right. So isn't she pretty? She is pretty. This is the front of our house. All right. I think it was a Sunday service or something like that. We went to church. I just came out from church. Let me tell you, this is the best decision I've ever made in my life. And when I look back at me, at myself and my life and the journey that I've made, I'm glad I chose this woman. Because God knew she was perfect for me, for my temperament, for my mood. She calms me down. She gets me. She understands me. She supports me. She believes in me. She's there for me. If you go into my Facebook page, you read the story I wrote about her. When I was in doubt, I went to her house one day. I'm sorry that we're making all this romantic. I know we're talking about the mind, but some of you will get what I'm saying. It's always good to put a bit of romance into things. I went to her house and I said she's a twin. It was their birthday. I was, poor those days. I couldn't afford to buy her a gift. And this was going to be the second consecutive year that she would not get a gift from me. So you know what she did? She decided to take all her money and buy herself a gift. I got to the house that day on her birthday. As I knocked on the door, her mom jumped on me and hugged me and said, Niyi, thank you for the gift. I was confused. I didn't know what to say. What gift? I had my love letter. Let me tell you, even though I didn't have money, man, I had words. Oh my God. you know, the pen of a ready writer, I had words. So when I write letters, in fact, a few years ago, she took me to a restaurant nearby, and we had a date in the morning, and we were reading love letters from 2007, 2006, 2005. And I'll write, you know, I'll write the date, I'll write the venue where I was. In fact, one of them I wrote in my room 202B, 2 a.m. I wrote a love letter to her, and I would always reassure her because she had doubts. She thought I would walk away. She thought I would not stay. And I would write and I said, listen, I'm here to stay. And do you know that I had a love letter on her birthday? I'd written a nice letter. Yeah, you know what? And I'll read it to her there. I'll open it there and we'll read it together. It will blow her mind. I was thinking. So when I had gift, I was like, okay, thank God. So I got in there. Everybody was hugging me. I was the center of attention for the first time. Usually it used to be the fiancé of her twin, because the guy was a big boy, he had a driver. He had just come back from England. That, you know, he would bring gifts and everything. He would go to England, US, bring gifts. He's always the guy that everybody runs to. I would just stay in one corner. Because let me tell you, when I got there, I still had to call her out to pay for the bike that I brought to their house. And when I'm going, she was sneaking some money to my pocket and give me transport fare back to my house. So I got there that day. She brought out this beautiful pair of shoes. Amazing. No way I could have afforded it. I'm still going to get my transport fare from you anyway, I thought. They fed me. We all laughed. Let me tell you, that day was the best day. I sat down there and I was like, wow, I'm a man. I felt like a man. You know, they treated me, everybody. That was when I realized, man, if you don't have money, people don't take you seriously. That was the first day I realized that all as family, they took me seriously. They were like, wow, you're so thoughtful, so nice, because they saw how she was happy. And they were like, apparently they had been talking that last year, no gift. What did he give you? You know, she's from a big family. So the siblings, what did he give you? Nothing. Anyway, I don't celebrate birthdays. Like me, I'm from, those of you who know my story, you know now that, yeah, it was my Sunday school teacher who paid my way to medical school. My parents didn't pay. From poor family, birthday is luxury. We're talking about eating. The birthday was not in my mind. That day, I stepped out of that house and I walked out. That was the day I knew I was going to marry her. I said, she covered my shame. Do you know that nobody in our house knew that I did not buy the shoe? When everybody left the two of us, I said, Yemi, how did you do it? She said, I took my savings. I went to buy during the week. All right. And I said, you gave it to me. I said, thank you. I said, thank you. Now, let me tell you, last week, despite the coronavirus pandemic, I bought my wife, and I'm not shy to tell you this. Even Pastor Astrop was there when I went to pick it up. I bought my wife a brand new Mercedes GLS 450D. Brand new Mercedes. She used to drive an X5 BMW. That's probably a third European car. Brand new. Go and check the price. All right. GLS 450D, 7-seater, brand new, black. I bought it for her. Because when I had nothing, she paid for my Okada. Okay? But God knew that she was the person that would help me shine. And that I would not make my choice based on the opportunities that I had. Because God can see the future from the present. He can see the future from the present. If I'm going to tell you something today, for those of you who are in crossroads, maybe you are here and you're a crossroad and your mind is a battlefield. For those of you, number one, you are stumbling on the same stone over and over again. You are in an addiction, in an abusive relationship. You keep failing at the same thing over and over again, and you have accepted that lower state as a very pasture. It's time to break away from the mold of this helplessness. And I hope that in the next 2 sessions, we'll be able to walk through this journey of getting you free so that you can actually liberate your mind and accept what God has prepared for you. And if you are here and you're allowing your mind to just go everywhere, and you need to, you're allowing the untrained, unrefined nature of your mind to decide for you. You would make mistakes. Because your mind will always go to the past. Your mind will go to what the society has decided is good. Your mind will go back to what the society has said is appropriate for you. Everybody around me told me I should not marry this woman. Everybody, not only my roommate, my best friend encouraged me. He was the only one that prayed with me. He was the only one that encouraged me. He was the only one that just said, Niyi, let's do this together. Every other person in my life said I was crazy. That's what every other person said. But thank God I was crazy. Because guess what now? Guess what now? It's different. Now, through myself and my wife, we brought their sister, our brother, our sister, all of them. Me, that was the rejected cornerstone in one corner. That was insignificant. All right. God has elevated us a little bit now. Okay. And now she is the superstar. We went to do after how many years? We got married. In fact, none of them were in our wedding apart from my twin sister. So we went back to Nigeria after 8 or 9 years of marriage to do our engagement because our parents never really came together like that. I am telling you what I saw there. I said, thank God. Thank God we're doing it now. Because then they were looking at us with sympathy. But now they celebrate us. All right. Let me finish on that note. I've gone so many minutes. Wow, almost 21 minutes. I have to rest. The service, I had so many meetings today, so many teachings. Any question? We'll go on. I will talk about, you see, if you check my next slide, I think my next slide is about forming new behaviors, the attention system, the stress system, the behavioral system. I'll be talking about, some hormones. There's so many things, focus. I'll talk about focus, so many things to talk about. Did you guys get value? Let me see what's in the chat. All right. Let me see what. Oh, guys, you guys have been. All right. That's great. That's great. Okay. Great. How did you fix it? Is this Pastor Martins? Pastor Ayo Martins? Is that you or is that your son? I don't know. Ayolabi, is that Pastor Martins? God bless you. Gideon, Glory, Charles says she's beautiful inside out. Yes, Charles, you're right. You've got good eyes. I wanted you to change your glasses, but don't change those glasses. You can see. Afolabi says awesome story. I don't know which Afolabi is this. Afolabi, is this Brisbane? Afolabi, Brisbane? I don't know.
Yes.
Yay, my brother. How are you?
Very good, sir. Very good.
Tunde, awesome testimony. Charles again, even in church, sadly, yes. Jada, lol, for real. What a story. So creative. Gideon, whoop, whoop. Gideon, is that our Gideon? Pastor Gideon, God bless you.
Yes.
Femi Olusha says, look at that. Love is unconditional. Thank you, my brother. Out of words, you have helped me by God's grace to know that more can happen. Yes, there's a lot more that happens in your subconscious. There's a lot that happens beyond what you think. And you know what? Even when God starts to deal beyond what you think, above what you think, a lot of us, we reduce our mind to what we can think. There's a lot that happens below what you think and above what you think. God operates above what we think. And a lot of what happens to us happens below what we think. So when we are thinking, we think our thinking is just the thing. No, your thinking is influenced by what you do, what you cannot even perceive. Your emotions and your inclinations, all of those things are already happening. The predictions are already happening before you even think it. I hope somebody understands what I'm talking about. Yeah, Charles got around. Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Femi, thoroughly, yeah, beautiful love story. Yeah, all right, great. Any questions before we finish, before I leave here? Does anybody have a question? Can we get calendar invites? I almost missed this. Okay, we've got to, I know a lot of you probably did not, I'm not sure how we're going to fix this. The dates are already set. So I will get Tofumi, my executive assistant, to send out the invite again, the email. The dates are set. It's going to be this YouTube, this Zoom, same Zoom link. And I think the dates are set. I sent an email out again today. Let me just check so that we can confirm that. So you guys can put it in your diary and we'll try to encourage all the others. This is recorded. Yes, it's still recording, I think, yes. So we will send it out. So the next session will be 25th of September. Yes, 25th of September will be the next session. It's going to be a Saturday. I think we probably should make it 2 hours instead of 1 hour, so we can cover a lot more. 6 to
Yes,
8.
please.
Yes, we'll make it 2 hours and we can go cover a lot more. So 25th of September will be the next session. Sorry, I'm very, very busy, guys, and all that. Now, since you guys have been here and you have gotten a bit of value, let me invite you for a program of mine. This is not a church program, okay? This is a personal program of mine that I'm putting up. You guys, I think you will get value from it. Some of you might have seen it online already. It's called Legacy 2021. Legacy 2020-21. So you may find it very engaging. Let me just play you a video about this. You may find it very helpful. I just stopped that video. Let me play another one for you. That one is a more recent video. Let me look for it. So guys, if you want to learn a bit more, you can, this is going to be a life-changing conference. I can tell you, this conference that we've put together, together with a few of my friends. It's going to be an amazing conference. I'm just going to look for the, oh gosh, where is this video? Sinali. Yeah, it's here. Sorry, just a second. Let me see if I can find the video and play for you guys. Can I find it? Can I find it? Okay. I can't play it for one reason or the other, but it's the program is called Legacy, and it's a 2-day program. It's going to be powerful. I can assure you it's going to be a powerful program. Let me play this one. Some of you might have seen this.
Hi, it's my pleasure to invite you to join me at the Legacy Conference 2021 being held on the 17th and 18th of September. I'm going to be talking about transgenerational influence and legacy. And the aim is to inspire and stir up the next generation of visionary believers and leaders to really understand the importance of now, like never before, to get up and be the hands and feet and answer the heavy calling that God will provide all the strength for to change the world one person at a time. The registration is absolutely free, so click below and we'll see you there.
Thank you for that. I'll play one more. Actually, I'll play it here and I'll share my screen so that you guys can see this one. Screen one, yes. Can you see it?
I didn't care what you think. You are not here just to be fed. Yes, get fed, just get fed, but get plugged in. If God can use a man without arms or legs to be his hand.
Sorry, can you? I'm not sure whether you guys can see that video. I hope you can.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Then God can use any willing heart. Little did I know that I would find something not just to live for, but to die for. That's purpose.
All right. So I want to encourage you to attend Legacy Conference 2021. It's not an RCCG event, but it's an event that I put together. It's going to bless your life. Nick, so many other people out there. Andy Upper from from Hillsong Church is there. Colin Shorion, DDK, my very good friend Samuel Kunda is also there. Powerful conference it will be. It's going to be an amazing time. All right, guys. Did I get any other question? Let me see so that we can round up. What did anyone say?
Sorry, sir,
Good.
I'd like to ask, how can we get the slides?
Slides. No, I'm not sharing slides, but you get the video. Okay, so we'll send the video to everybody who registered. Okay, it's all recorded. We'll send the video. I'll just put on I will put there now, right now, the link for this conference. So for those who, you can actually go to Niyi Borire, my name, niyiborire.com/legacy. I'll put that in the chat right now. Somebody says, can you have my contact? I'm hard to reach. So my email, send me an email. Email is better because, to be honest, I rarely reply messages these days, so I don't want to shock you. I'm so sorry, my hands are full, especially this next month of September. If you have any pressing issues, any personal things that your local pastor cannot deal with, that you want to ask about or talk to me about, whether it's with the mind, with leadership, or even if it's a health-related issue, you can send me an email initially to info@niyiborire.com. I'll respond to that, and then we can pick it up from there. If it's something I have to talk to you about on the phone, we'll do that. All right, guys. In the absence of any question, I hope to see you on the 25th of September. I will send a message to all the registrants. We had over 200 registrants. I don't know what happened today where we had such a low number, but it's okay. We'll keep moving. Okay. I'll send an email of the program to everyone, and then we go from there. Take care of yourselves. Okay. And I wish you a wonderful, wonderful month. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers.